Good evening and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm Mephisto, your host, and always with me. No. Oh, my feelings is away this week. We have our mod, our friend, and our resident evil, Saphira, or Saf for short. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening. How
What
are we doing?
is I'm good. What is the Room McCoy? The Room McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we send you off to watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us, and we geek it out, break it down, and completely nerd out on it as we please. And this week we asked you to go and watch Hackers from 1995.
Awesome movie.
Awesome movie. How many times you watched it this week?
Well, at least once a day.
At least once a day. Well, we do tell Saf to do crazy stuff, but I didn't ask him to do that. I enjoyed myself so much this week. Just before we start with Hackers, let me just get into the normal stuff that we usually do. If you want to interact with the show, please at Mephisto on Twitter or at Mephisto on Mephisto79 on Instagram. I do my best to check those messages, but please stop sending me those fucking digital marketers. Just stop. You can email the show at theroomofcoypodcast@gmail.com, and you will not be watching us on Twitch for the time being, but you can go to Twitch and give a follow to Saphira on Twitch. It is twitch.tv/Saphira, as it says on the bottom. Also, if you happen to watch this not live, please leave a like on this video and share it around. And of course, if you want to subscribe for more stuff, please do subscribe to the stuff. But it's most importantly to me at the moment is just if you like it. If you don't like it, put a dislike on it. That's okay too. But share this around if you do like to. If you have a friend that is into dissecting movies like Crazy Maniac, then go ahead and do that. Hackers. Really enjoyed myself this week. I'm guessing you did as well.
Oh yeah, classic movie.
Yeah. Our good friend Oh My Feelings is taking a little break this week. It is a 4th of July weekend over at America. So we here in Israel and in the EU where Saf is, we're going to relax and just watch the fireworks from this side of the pond, okay?
From safety.
But for those of you who are celebrating a 4th of July weekend, please enjoy yourselves. Watch a good movie, like a Tom Cruise movie that came out recently. Have you watched it? Have you watched Maverick, Top Gun?
Yes, I actually liked it.
I really wanted to go, but Mrs. Meth really hates Tom Cruise, so I'm gonna wait till it comes to like a streaming service, which should be in about a couple of weeks, I think.
I'll send you a link then.
You will send me a link because I have friends in higher places. Anyway, okay, right. DK says he hasn't watched it yet. Wait till I think it goes to HBO Max or Hulu or whatever. Right. Hackers. 1995, directed by Iain Softley. And let's jump into our first segment of the night, shall we? It is called Behind the Screens.
Production take 2.
Behind the Screens is where we usually turn to Oh My Feelings, and he will give us the down low and the up low on what's happening with Hackers. But Saf was going to take care of that mantle, or at least half of it. So go ahead, Saf.
Well, don't expect as good or as deep going as you get from Mr. Feelings. He's much better than I am, but yeah.
Don't sell yourself too short. Go on.
Budget around 20 million is around what it cost. It took in a little over 7.5 million worldwide.
So it's super bombed.
Yeah, it wasn't very well received by the general public. However, the hacker community and the computer world actually really liked it because it had so much reference to real life stuff that actually was a thing back then, like social engineering, which we'll see in the show. obviously,
Yeah.
hacking, phreaking, the manipulation of phones, dumpster diving, and very stupid handles for the hackers.
Like Mephisto or Saphira.
Yeah, something like that.
Sorry, like self humor is just
True.
something
No,
that
it's
I like. Right.
also when the movie got released, their website appeared to be hacked, and it just showed instructions to go see the movie The Net instead, which released around the same time with Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also kind of deal with stuff that we kind of look on today as well. It's like you could everything is online. You can be literally erased or canceled from the internet.
Exactly. And yeah, that hack was done by the webmasters themselves to get a little bit more, well, viewage, which obviously it didn't work so well.
Yeah.
Then for the cast, Jesse Bradford, the one that played Joey. He was originally brought in by the casting crew to be Dave Murphy. But after he read the script, he himself wanted to be Joey because he thought he would be able to play that role better, which is quite impressive, passing out on your first major role.
Also, I'm just adding to the stuff. Johnny Lee Miller, who was the main guy, Dade Murphy, he was 24. Angelina Jolie was 20 or 22.
Something.
Sorry. Johnny Lee Miller was 22. She was 20. And Mathew Lillard, which is a serial killer, he was 24 at the time.
Yeah. And Jesse Bradford was 16, the youngest.
Was actually 16, yeah.
He was the age that most of them were supposed to be.
Yeah.
Then Catherine Hale was originally...
Catherine Heigl.
She was offered the role for Kate Libby, but because she was doing Under Siege 2 at the moment, she had to pass up on that role, which she regretted afterwards. Hilary Swank, Heather Graham, and Liv Tyler also auditioned for the role for Kate Libby, but the role ultimately went to Angelina Jolie, who wasn't very well known back then.
No, she wasn't.
Now, my personal opinion, she never looked better as in that movie.
I agree. I call it the Vulcan look because she kind of looks like a Vulcan hairdo from Star Trek.
Yeah,
way better than how she looks like 2 years after that. Way
it was
better.
Natural.
Yeah.
to call it like that.
Let's say a lot of her was very natural in that movie, and later on got spoiled by stupidity. Yeah. Right, moving on.
Before filming, the cast had to spend at least 2 weeks together so they could get to know each other, so their friendship would shine more in the movie. And they actually learned how to rollerblade properly. And they spend a lot of time studying computers and hacking to improve on their roles, which actually worked.
Yeah. It kind of happened to Friends as well. In the TV series Friends, they literally put them in a room together and told them to like do something. So they literally played poker and got bonded, and it kind of showed in the actual series itself.
Yeah, so, definitely
good move.
And shortly after the movie, Johnny Lee Miller and Angelina Jolie got married, but they divorced 4 years after, which in the movie you can also see that quite comes out where they actually like each other.
Yeah.
Also, the writer, director, and some of the cast, they went to a monthly meeting that happened in New York with local hackers, so they could actually learn from real life hackers.
Nice.
Which is also a good touch. The name, at some point in the show, serial killer is in literature class, or as he calls it, woodshop.
Yeah.
He gives the professor the name Emmanuel Goldstein. That's a pseudonym that was used by Eric Quarterly at that time, who was the publisher of 2600 Hacker Quarterly magazine. And he was also an uncredited consultant to the movie.
Yes, there's an additional to that because Emmanuel Goldstein is supposed to be the villain in the book and in the movie of 1984 by, I now forgot the name. It's not the famous book, 1984. Oh my god, I'm gonna look for the name.
Yeah. Oh crap! I don't have to do that. Then the Gibson, the supercomputer. That
George
name was-
Orwell. God damn it! How did I forget the name? George Orwell, 1984. George Orwell. I can't believe I forgot that name.
It's easy
Sorry.
to forget.
No, it's not.
The supercomputer, the Gibson, that name was given as a homage to cyberpunk author William Gibson. Gibson also invented the word cyberspace in one of his books called The Necromancer.
Mm-hmm.
I
think he also invented cyberpunk. He was a cyberpunk author, but he also invented that name. But that something that I kind of side researched. It's unclear if he's the first one who actually used cyberpunk, but he definitely was the first one that used cyberspace.
Yes. And the last thing that I have for this segment is that the hacking scenes, where you see inside the computer while they are hacking the stuff, it's mostly done by motion-controlled models because the director thought that using computer graphics would make it look too artificial.
And also, it's 1995. That's the almost start of like the modern CGI as we know it today. And it was terrible.
Yeah, let's not mention Blade 2, shall we?
Not Blade 2. First of all, Blade 1, which was 1998.
Oh, yeah, that one. I meant that one.
But the actual, the way that they used CGI back in the day was basically the same thing. I get it why he didn't want to use it that way. Also, there's a point somewhere, I think I just missed it. Just to emphasize the fact that the director didn't like CGI. I remember this because I've seen it in this movie, but I was actually hooked to this very similar machine. Let me try and find it. God damn it. No, I can't find it. There's a point where Gil, the main investigator, goes to Plague, and Plague is hooked up to a virtual reality machine. Like today, we know the HTC Vive and all that stuff, but back then it was a weird kind of thing that you put on your head, and you had to stand in an enclosure.
Yeah, otherwise you would get hurt.
And play really weird games. I could never play those games correctly because the visor that they put in doesn't fit people with glasses. So for me, it just looked like dots. Anyway, let's start off with the movie. It kind of starts off with a court case, basically. We get to know a little bit about Dade Murphy, who was zero cool, right? He knocked over a crashed 1,507 systems in one day, including the Wall Street, and causing some sort of a financial crisis. So he didn't go to jail, but he was barred from ever using a computer that is hooked to the internet. It's not like he's not allowed to have a computer. He is allowed to have a computer, but you must not hook it up to a telephone. Basically,
he was also not allowed to go anywhere near a touchtone telephone.
Yeah.
And another thing from that scene, because that's something that most people don't know or remember, that incident is actually based on a real life thing that occurred, where the Robert Morris worm crashed over 2,000 computers, infected over 6,000 Unix machines, and people are still debating that those numbers should be much higher, with an estimated damage between 100,000 and $10 million back then.
Yes,
And
which is
that was the
about
same year,
80 million. Yeah.
1988.
Yeah. Could you imagine getting your internet now revoked for 8 years? Not 8. 8, is it 8? No.
No, it's a
Is
little
it
bit
seven
less.
7 years?
Six or something.
6 or 7 years, right? So it literally he was 11 and up till the age of 18. So it's about 7 years, I guess. The math, you know.
Yeah, well, the movie itself doesn't do the math either, because it technically starts out when he's 18, and it still gets mentioned a lot that he's violating his parole throughout the movie.
Yeah, but it's no, for the sake of the movie. So
Yeah.
as the movie actually starts, we get to see Dade, as he is now called Crash Override, or he kind of invents the name as he goes on, because he doesn't want to reveal his real moniker, right? But he takes over a TV station by doing something that is absolutely still used today, which is social engineering. He's actually calling the place and asking the poor security guard. He kind of fools him and say, "Oh, I'm working from remote, blah blah blah. I need the name of the mode and the number on the modem." And that's how he gets into the TV station. And all he does is just he switches the controls. Now, back then, it's a machine that actually takes a VCR cassette and puts it, in their place, and just changes the system like that. Today is literally just a digital computer that activates a movie, right?
Yeah, we got a little bit more space to store data.
Yes, just a little bit more. But the whole point is he suddenly gets stuck with another hacker that is on his turf, right? Acid burns, right? And leave before you'll be expunged. And we get the is it here or later that he says mess with the best?
It's
right?
a little bit after this.
It's a little bit after this, but he gets booted out. And the thing is, there's a moment where his mom is like, she knocks on his door. It's like, what are you doing up so late? It's like, and he doesn't lie. He's like, oh, I'm taking over a TV station. And she's like, oh, don't stay up too late. And that. The thing
Until
is,
the
his
morning
mom
after.
knows he crashed a lot of computers.
Well,
And
the parents divorced because of that.
yeah. So they mentioned that they moved in his senior year. It's the senior year. He's 18. They moved to New York back from, I don't think they mention where they're coming from, but they do mention the fact that there's a moment like later on in the movie where the mom says, oh, why don't you do something? It's like, what? Cut the grass? We don't have grass here. It's New York, remember? So it kind of references the fact that they used to live in some sort of suburb or something, right? And it's the city life. It's very different from where they were. Where it is, they don't mention. So he goes to school. He gets assigned with Kate Libby, and she's supposed to walk him around everything and everywhere and sign him up for his classes. Later on, some random guy's like, oh, Kate, just remind him about the pool upstairs. And she sends him up to the pool, and he goes up to the top floor, opens the door, it closes up behind him, locks, and he's like, oh, all the poor geeks and got sent to the pool. Now, you have an interesting fact about the whole school, right?
Yes, because it's actually, and it's still existing, it's the Stuyvesant High School in Manhattan. It's an exclusive high school for students that excel in math, science, and computers, which is quite fitting for this case. and a lot of the extras that were actually in the school scenes were actual seniors of that school. And the pool on the roof prank was an actual thing they used to do in the school's old building, and it was called the 6th floor pool. And the original school before they moved over to the new location where the movie was shot at only had 5 floors.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, in the location of the new school, there was actually a pool, but it was on the 1st floor.
Yes.
Which is, nice little tidbit of information. And the thing is, Crash Override, or Dade Murphy, the main guy, he kind of has a little crush on Kate from little. I mean, everyone had a crush on her, literally. So he wants to. Again, watched this a few times this week, and I still don't know if he wanted to get back at her by showing up in her class, or just it's sort of serves both purposes on trying to get with her and also trying to get revenge. So
I think initially it's all about revenge.
He sits around at a computer, and there's the Phantom Freak from like behind his shoulder while he watches him change his class itinerary, and then he catches him outside, right? And he literally introduces himself. I'm the Phantom Freak. I'm the King of 9X. Now there's a thing about the 9X that is something that came up, but I kind of forgot. It's supposed to be something that happened with a real hacker, right? That they knocked over like 500 computers or something, 500 systems again. And it's all with the phone. So it kind of keep referencing how to use the phone. And Phantom Freak, you can see him in various moments in the movie that he is actually hacking using tones and using old phone, like landline phone methods to trick various phones into either calling abroad to Venezuela or actually getting the information out when he gets arrested.
And hence his name, because messing with phones was called freaking.
Yeah, freaking, which is phone hacking.
Yes.
But the thing with Freak, he actually recognized what Crash Override is doing on the computer. It was like, oh, you're elite, which is very important because that's where the elite come from.
He does not call him elite yet until the books.
Until the books. Okay. So it's whenever a hacker is being pronounced as elite or leet, it's by his like fellow guys, and it's to different yourself from, part-time hacking and real people who actually do know how to do stuff.
Script kits
as well. And they also have their own viruses, worms, Trojans, all that stuff that they wrote themselves. And it later on, it does say when they do the duel that, you can use just your own scripts, your own viruses, your own Trojans, your own worms to hack into other things, and you cannot use other people's. So the moniker is L33T, by the way, leet.
Which is still used quite a lot, but in different contexts. It's not just hackers anymore.
And of course, the Freak does invite Crash Override into it's Cyberdelia. So it's like an abandoned warehouse where literally they're doing most of the stuff that is today considered regular teenage stuff, but back then it was special. So rollerblading, skateboarding, all that stuff that is
Selling
considered
bootleg
bootleg.
cassettes.
Yeah, bootleg cassettes, bootleg like PC stuff. Yeah, it still goes on today, but it's mostly indoor in your own house, I guess. And less going out to the park and doing some like
It
you
was
won't
basically a skate
you won't
park.
ever see this like ever. Even the arcades are dead these days, right?
I used to love that game though. I had it.
It's a real game, right? It's a
This
real
was
game.
this was an early version of the game Wipeout, which was released in '95.
And Crash Override is literally there playing. Like Kate is there playing, and she's like the high score girl there, or a
The
a high
only
score everyone. And like she high scores everything there. But he's like, "Oh, you're pretty good for a girl," and then he takes over and wins. By the way, he won only by 1,000 points, which is not a lot because you were earning millions. And it's like, and the Phantom Freak is like, "Oh, you got yourself an enemy for life." And dude, as gamers, you and I are gamers. We know all about it. Even All My Feelings is like, yeah, probably, yeah, yeah. You just got yourself
Arcade
an
Queen.
enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, the revenge thing is still not over. So we kind of skipped over the class where we kind of meet serial killer, right? We skipped over the scene where he invades the advanced English class.
Yeah, because he thought it was wood shop.
Yeah, and we get straight to this. Activates the thing.
That's a classic line from the movie, though.
Yeah. So she goes out and is like, "Oh, you think you're funny?" And he said, "Well, I think the pool in the roof has sprung a leak." The thing is, Phantom Freak respects him a lot for that, but Kate does not.
Not so much.
Not so much, right? But it is a righteous hack. It is a righteous hack. Next. Oh, actually, the scene with serial killers after this. I thought it was before.
No. Right after the arcade, he sees Kate Libby go on the back of a bike with her boyfriend, and then when he gets home, he overrides the school systems to do an early morning test of the sprinklers.
Yeah, and then you see the introduction where they're in the English class. It's like, wow, this isn't wood shop. And the class is like,
I've seen this movie. Well, they are basically quoting big authors of the 20th century, and he quotes Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, but the thing is, Dade is quoting an actual guy. Kate is quoting her mother, which is supposed to be like this author. You never see her, but she's like a very well-renowned, I think it's a
Women's
feminist
rights
author.
Yeah,
it's feminist author. And he quotes Ozzy Osbourne. And by the way, that's a cool quote by Ozzy Osbourne.
The thing I miss the most is my mind, something like that.
Is my mind. Yeah. And it's just a fun little tidbit because, by this time Ozzy Osbourne was, I think he was kicked out of Sabbath by this point, right? This is 95.
I don't know.
So
I was not in that scene at that time.
Yeah, I think it was kicked out because he was such a drunk loser. Then they had to throw him out, but they eventually broke up, so it doesn't matter. Or was it before? Never mind. Okay, so we get a little bit. Oh, there we go. I wanted to get to this scene where they're sitting around in either the same place or a different place.
It's still Cyberdelia, I believe.
So it's still Cyberdelia, right?
Yeah, with the pool in the middle.
Yeah, and they're sitting around with the books, and this is where Crash Override is being pronounced elite or being recognized as elite,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because we've got Phantom Freak, we've got Joey that still doesn't have a handle because he didn't do a righteous hack. And he tells a story about, oh, I went into this bank. I didn't know what I was doing. And then later on, the next day, I read that some ATM spewed out $700 or $800. And both Freak and Cyril's like, are you stupid? You did that from your actual house? You
Across
are dumb
states.
as...
That's
Yeah.
FBI territory right there.
Yeah. When you do, you literally, when you do anything that is not in your state, and it's through the phone, it's called wire fraud in the US. And that could be literally putting you in 8 to 10 years, depending on how damaging it was.
Well, spewing out $750 on the street is quite a big deal.
No, hacking into a bank is quite the deal. That's the problem. But they pass around those books, and there's an little informational thing that we kind of read about, both of us. All the books that they go through are real except for two of them. The book with the guy with the pink shirt and the blue book, right?
No, those two are also real. All of them are real. All but those two were actual books published by the Department of Defense. The last two were published by other companies.
Okay.
But the fact that you can get or could get books published by the Department of Defense about systems, you won't see that anymore. I can guarantee you that.
Definitely not. Definitely not. But you get to see how far and how deep the whole hacker community is. It's basically friends that share information and system operations, but they don't actually share the ways and how to do it, right? They don't share the ways and how to do it. They just share the, let's say, the tactical information on the system. So this is this system and this is this system, and try to hack into this. They don't share the hacking methods. They just
that's how the mentality of the hackers back then worked. They shared, as you say, the system buildup. From there, people have to figure their own way inside of it, and that's how you prove you are elite. You are good enough.
Yeah. All right, let's do a pause because we have a segment called Missing Marquee. What is Missing Marquee for the uninitiated? Is Missing Marquee is we take 10 posters, have their text written off, and we display them for you, chat, and for usually All My Feelings and the guest. But we have Saf here, and it is good enough for us. 10 posters. Guess.
Chat, please help me.
Guess which movie this is. We're going to give you
Chucky.
Time for the chat. This is called, yes, this is Chucky, but what is the name of the movie?
I don't know. I thought it was good enough that I knew at least one bit of it.
It is Chucky. Chat, please help Saf. I know you're watching. I know you're lurking. I can see the numbers. Thank you, DK. This is, of course, Child's Play.
I know this one. I've seen it the other day, damn it.
Bruce Willis, Billy Bob Thornton, and Cate Blanchett. I personally liked the trailer for the movie more than I actually liked the movie. The premise is pretty funny.
I can't think of the name.
DK is silent. Haven't seen this one before. This is Bandits.
Yeah, he meant it was on the show. It has been on the show before.
Oh, all of the posters have been on the show before.
I do know this one. We've played this game quite a lot.
All right. Just tell me, Saf. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, chat. Conan the Barbarian.
I don't watch many movies with Sandra Bullock, so I wouldn't know.
DK got the Conan the original. Yeah, Conan the Barbarian. Was that Mel Gibson and our lovely pretty woman? DK is stomped. This is Conspiracy Theory. Also a great movie.
Yeah, no, I have no
This
idea.
is a Coen's Brothers movie. Mid 90s, came out before. Never mind. It also got adapted into a television series. And I know somewhere in the world right now, there is a nice American called Oh My Feelings who is screaming the name of this movie. This is Fargo.
Good selection.
Another Coen's Brothers movie. I was just about to say Fargo came out just before this one. We've covered this movie on the podcast as well. One of my top 5 of all time movies that I like. My favorite Coen Brothers movie, even more than Fargo. Has a lot of similar actors. DK is not on top of this. This is, of course, Jeff Bridges in The Big Lebowski. Want me to punch in a little bit?
I'm trying to see, but no.
It is Kevin Costner.
It's not Waterworld. It's
not Waterworld.
I have seen it.
The person he's carrying is Whitney Houston, and it is, of course, The Bodyguard.
Thank you, DK.
Oops.
I definitely know The Untouchables.
The Untouchables.
Twins. And a nope.
Oh, we've covered this on a podcast. This is Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal. If I'm not mistaken, it's a Penny Marshall movie. Not that it matters to you, but...
Nope. I have no idea. DK will probably know this one.
Yeah, we've covered this on a podcast as well. The first one for 2022, When Harry Met Sally. It is correct. Nice. Good one. Not too bad, dude. Not too bad.
At least I had 2 or 3 right.
Yeah, you had about 4, I think. You had about 4. Don't worry. Right. Cool.
I'll do better in the last segment.
Of course you will. So, Joey is doing the righteous hack to the Gibson. And of course, the guy who is the technician there, if you recognize him or didn't recognize him, because he's been thinned out a little bit. It is Penn Jillette, very famous magician
from Penn and Teller.
From Penn and Teller. And of course, we get introduced to the plague. Don't fear, I is here. Which is,
another one of those classics.
Another one of those classical, one-liners from this. So, Plague is the system security, whatever director for. Is it Allison? I think it's Allison, a mineral company or mining company, whatever.
Minerals.
Yeah, mineral company. They basically do fossil fuel stuff, right? He comes in, he sees that Joey kind of stumbled upon garbage files that he just copied because he just wanted a proof for him being there to make sure he has the, goes to his friends. It's like, oh, dude, I just copied this from a Gibson, which is supposed to be unpenetrable kind of system. But of course, he uses his home computer, which means he can be traced over the phone. And of course, he gets busted. But he did copy about half. The thing is, the only reason he didn't copy the full file is the fact that his mother wanted him to go to sleep. So she got into the room and turned off the computer mid cycle. So he got like let's say a corrupted file. Now, if I remember correctly, and I'm not a hacker and I've never was a hacker, but if you stop a download with turning off your computer back then, I think the file is pretty much unreadable.
No, there is portions that are copied will be recoverable. However, it also it shows multiple files. So it's quite possible that he had a couple files, but not everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you only get half a file, a hacker can still go in there, but has to reverse engineer what it was like, which is what they are doing later on. So technically it's possible.
All right. So the thing is with this, let me see. So the next scene is this, which is a precursor to a lot of what we're literally doing right now, which is internet TV, right? So we get introduced to Lord Nikon, or Phantom Freak kind of introduces Crash Override. This is the first time he actually says the name Crash Override, but I could be mistaken. It's like introducing him to Lord Nikon, and we get to see a little bit of backstory about serial killer, where he's like, "Can I crash at your place?" Where earlier in Cyberdella, he stole Phantom Freak's a lot of his food, and Freak kind of mentioned the fact that serial killer is like a drifter. His home is not that great, so he kind of runs away and kind of stays with other people because his like home situation is not that good.
It's his
right?
parents made him miss Woodstock, and he's been making up for it ever since.
Yeah, that's the actual line, but it's sort of a message where it's house life is or home life is not that great. Not that great. So they're sitting around and watching an internet TV show, Hack the Planet, with Razor and Blade, which, you know what? Kudos to them. It's fucking great names, by the way. So Hack the Planet, which is sort of a moniker for the entire movie, but it's also a real thing, right? Hack the Planet is a real thing amongst hackers. Where they can use that as a rallying cry to do some sort of cause. Either today is like DDoS attack or all that stuff. Right. Have to. I can't really switch over scenes without actually turning off the thing because I'm gonna get dinged for copyright. But it's the thing is, when just before the show comes on, they watch Richard Gill give a little speech to some sort of a reporter, but it's the same, like it's when they arrest Joey, right? They don't notice the fact that in the background Joey gets arrested. So I'm not sure in terms of movie thing that maybe they had a little bit of a misstep here. I can definitely tell they did a little bit of a misstep here because they're watching Richard Gill gets in his interview, and in the background, Joey's being hauled up, being arrested. They don't recognize that Joey gets arrested only a little bit later when they found that out, which is, weird. But we do get introduced. We do get introduced to Richard Gill. We do get introduced to his team. If you didn't notice, Mark Antony, the singer or actor / singer, the guy who was married to fucking J-Lo anyway. He's in this movie, and he kind of looks young, and he also gets sent out later on to be like to infiltrate the parties. He reveres them, right? It's like when he gets read his buddy reads the manifesto or parts of the manifesto, he's like, "Oh, that's cool." So
That's-
he's young, and he's also young in the head,
yeah,
or
that,
he can get the mentality.
that's also the manifesto, something I want to
Yeah, sure.
quickly skim over, because the Hacker Manifesto was an actual thing written in the 80s by a hacker, very well known, Lloyd Blankenship, who went by the name of The Mentor. This article, or the manifesto itself, was first published in Frag magazine. That's a magazine for hackers by hackers, in 1986, and the magazine is still a thing that exists today.
Probably online.
At the moment, it's more of a forum online, but yeah, it started out as a magazine where
real
they just
magazine, yeah.
shared stuff.
The only
Yeah.
thing that the guy who reads the manifesto. The only thing we skipped is a little scene at Arlington or Allison, sorry, where Plague explains everything to the board, and he kind of brings up the Da Vinci thing, which is something that he put in to kind of cover up that worm that eats the money that the Joey as a hacker kind of stumbled upon it.
Yes.
From here in the movie itself, we kind of get to see more into the whole hacker thing, where kind of, Freak. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. Freak kind of tells the guys that Joey got pinched, right? And that sort of thing, but they don't know for what at this point. What we do get, Richard Gill going to Plague, and as I said, this virtual reality thing where you had like this little button, and then you can see the enclosure right here all around this, because they didn't want you to escape, because if you didn't have glasses like me and watch the thing, you can literally put your head down or try to evade, and you could have fallen, because it's like a mini stage. You could have literally fallen off if there weren't that enclosure. And they together go to find Zero Cool. And let's just say Plague is a bit of an asshole, or a lot of an asshole, because he thinks Dade has something to do with it, even though he barely knows Joey, and he definitely does not know about the hack at this point.
No, but because of Dade's past, because the Plague actually knows Dade as Zero Cool.
Yeah, because he has a lot of access to
the secret server files.
The
so
secret
yeah,
service files. The thing is, after they leave, Dade has a very, let's say, erotic dream about Kate, but they get interrupted in the middle. And everybody's jealous about the guy who literally lifts Angelina Jolie and takes her away. And he kind of wakes up with a cold sweat. Wait a minute. Never mind. You know what? Never mind. But Freak kind of invites him to a party that is happening at Kate's house, and they go in, and of course, what do geeks do? What do hackers do? They don't care about the music. They don't care about anything. All they care about is the fact that Kate has a righteous rig. And as a as a computer lover, and I know you are as well.
Oh yeah.
Sitting around at a new guy's PC or computer is like, oh man, look at this. And how much RAM does he have? And oh, what graphics card? Well, now today we've got like graphics cards, and back then it's like, and the thing is, they mentioned the modem. Do you remember the speed of the modem?
65
Nope.
or
It is
56.
28.8K.
Nope, I didn't remember that one.
Oh.
But that
In
was
nine-
fast back then. That was the
In
laptop.
1995, my modem was 14K, and I was barely hooked up to the internet. And I had a shitty computer. 14K was fucking amazing. 28K was, let's say, above my pay grade. Just 2 years after that, my modem, well, I didn't upgrade my PC, but I did upgrade my modem. My modem was 56K just 2 years after that, which is far and beyond whatever she has. But as a laptop with 28.8, that's a really good computer. And when they do mention the processor is better than I think it's a Pentium, better than a Pentium.
Yeah.
It's like saying, oh, I have a graphics card, it's better than Nvidia or whatever, right? So the thing is, Kate comes in, like everything is dark. They turn off the light to watch the monitor better. Kate comes in with her boyfriend. She gets busted, right? But she's not mad because she's a nerd like they are. And it's like, oh, look at this fucking great rig. And she's like, oh, I know, right? I know,
Totally
right?
starts to geek out right then and there.
And they geek out, but then it's like, what the fuck is he doing here, right? And it starts the duel. And we're not going to go into deep inside the duel because we can talk about it for hours.
But a lot of stuff happens in there.
Yeah, the whole part of the duel is, how can you mess up Richard Gill's life more? And the judges will be Serial Killer, Nikon, and Phantom Freak. Let me see. And like we said, everybody has, like, both sides need to use their own worms, their own Trojans, their own stuff, their own kind of data, whatever, and do a hack. So one of the hacks is literally going into the credit card and killing it. At the one of them is literally sending Richard Gill or putting his name at a sex thing. By the way, do you know what water sports is?
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously.
Because we're on YouTube, we're gonna skip over that.
Yes, it's very smart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's let's just say most people don't do that. But I like the fact that Richard Gill actually answers the thing. It's like, I'll tell you where you're gonna stick it. I love that. I love that line.
I like how casual the plague just walks by, overhears it, and all he says is "those animal." It's very casual, like nothing's going on.
The thing is, they keep it's there's at least about 10 minutes of going back and forth, right? And at the end, Crash Override or Dade kind of makes Richard Gill into a deceased person. He like gets him killed. And that kind of harkens back to the net, where you can literally cancel a person out because everything is online. So credit cards online, birth certificate, everything has some sort of a number attached to it and goes to like central computing everywhere.
Yeah.
So they go back to Cyberella and they're at a tie. So they add a second stipulation where the date that they're supposed to go on, she's going to wear a dress because she's a girl, but she's not a girly girl. But Dade is supposed to have a dress too, as well.
If he loses, yes.
As if he loses. But the thing is, if he loses, then there's still a date.
Oh yeah, they settled on
Yeah.
that quite early, that there will be a date either way.
Yeah. And then she has a dream where he's in like full latex dress or whatever, and she wakes up in a cold sweat. And after that, the real kind of movie starts, where it gets complicated, where Joey, until this point, was being monitored, but he was also grounded by his mom. So there was no interaction over the phone with Phantom Freak or any of those guys. They get sent a real good computer by Plague in order for him to, like, it's sort of a taunt, right? Because he's not supposed to use any telephones.
No, by that time he was allowed
by
to.
the time he is, though.
Yeah.
But Plague wants. Yeah, go ahead.
The thing that always got me with that is how easy that laptop was received. Thinking as, well, as a hacker, you receive a laptop from someone that you know can hack. Why would you trust anything that's on that thing?
Yeah, I didn't
It's
understand
personal.
that either. Yeah, I know. I didn't get it either, because he's supposed to. Oh, I gave you a free laptop. Also, I can monitor you through it because I'm a hacker too. Yeah,
It's a movie thing, I guess.
it is a movie thing. So Joey meets Phantom Freak, gives him the disc, but he's also being recorded by the two guys, the two guys who the manifesto guy, the guy who read the manifesto, and Mark Anthony, which I don't remember his name, but it really does important. Joey does give Freak the thing, and he hides it. Let me just flash it up on screen. He hides it in the boys' bathroom behind the condom machine. But then he goes home. He doesn't contact anybody. He doesn't talk to anybody, and gets arrested. And I love it when he gets arrested, right? First, he dreams about getting arrested, and then he is actually being arrested. And his mom...
Come on, arrest me already.
His mom is so appalled. She literally calls him a motherfucker in Spanish. She calls him a son of a whore. A puta de mierda. She calls him a son of a whore. It's like, and Phantom is like, go arrest me already. Just, I don't want to get hit by my mom.
It's brilliant.
When he does get arrested, finally, because it's been established that he is good with using the phone, he's using his call. He's using his call to call Kate, right? To call Kate and tell her that he hid something. But I love the fact that, it's in the thing that in the place where
I hit that thing one time.
Where I hit that thing one time. And immediately she knows, because they're friends, they're hackers, they know where to hide things for the other people to find.
The way he did it with the phone was also brilliant. Just hang up a couple times so the phone system thinks that there's a bug and you get connected to a controller.
To an operator.
Yeah, operator.
It won't happen today.
No.
It will not happen today.
Especially not in a prison phone.
Yeah. So the guys, the serial killer and Kate, or Acid Burns, they go to Dade and they need his help deciphering the disc, because they noticed that the files are corrupted, right? They wanted his help. He doesn't want to help them because he kind of tells him he has a record, but he doesn't say anything about Zero Cool just yet. And they ask him to make a copy. He makes a copy, of course, and he contacts Plague and tells Plague, well, I have the disc. and he gives them, and he doesn't want to, but Plague threatens him with getting his mother arrested for trumped up charges because he kind of replaced her photo with a different girl's photo for like heroin trade or whatever.
All kinds of stuff.
Kind of threatens his mom to get to the son, and he of course relents, and he gives him a but a copy of the disc. I love this scene, by the way, where
Classic 80s.
he comes in, but he's wearing a skateboard because he's a hacker, and all hackers have skateboards and rollerblades and all that stuff, apparently. Because it's a part of the culture, I guess.
Yeah.
He comes in, but he rolls with that limousine. Why? Maybe it just looks better for the scene. In terms of like movie stuff, it looks better, but why would he just not roll around with a fucking limousine, put out his hand, take the disc, and just roll away? I'm guessing it just looks better. It looks cooler.
Because he can.
But then Crash Override does get to, like, they try to decipher. They can't do it because he's their friend. He comes in and he works there, and I love the montage because everything goes fast, but he's still at the computer all the time, like being super OCD with it, right? And he gets to see the actual program where he actually deciphers the bits and pieces of it until it gets corrupted, and he finds out about the worm who got, planted. But he also tells them about Plague, and he also tells them about him being Zero Cool.
Yes.
And I love it that Nikon is like, I thought you were black, man. Because everybody's heard about Zero Cool because he's
in that world,
elite. Because he's elite. How many takes did it take for them to do it? The skateboard thing from before? I don't know, but
probably a lot.
You can do that. There were, to be honest, there were a lot of real small cuts. So the whole scene is very, very, it's edited really, really fast. And you can do that without actually doing that. All apart from the fact that he is actually grabbing the limousine. The whole sequence is edited real fast. So it seems like he's grabbing it after he's leaving the limousine, but I don't think he actually does. I love the fact that everything is a setup and a payoff. The setup is Nikon here, and later on when they try to hack the Gibson, they've established the fact that he has a photographic memory, and he kind of, closes his eyes and refers to the fact that Zero Cool is the guy who crashed in 1,507 systems in one day, blah, 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 and all that stuff. Yeah. All right. Sorry. So the guys decide to actually go into the Gibson and get the entire file, like get to the garbage files and copy them all in their entirety to actually reveal Plague. And they also, just before they start, no, sorry, you have the whole references to remember we said about the dumpster diving?
Yes.
So they go and do the actual dumpster diving. Yeah.
It starts out with the bit where they're like, oh, you're Zero Cool. Well, we need to get into the Gibson. Well, it takes you this amount of time. you need at least 5 minutes. Well, with me, you can do it in 4, and etc.
Yeah.
And then they say, let's go shopping, and then they do their research. So dumpster diving it's literally you go into a dumpster where a whole lot of companies, all the trash paper is in there, and there was a high chance that someone stupid had a password, something like that, sensitive information on papers, and they just threw it in the dumpster.
Yeah. And of course, because we've established that Lord Nikon is a guy who can literally go into the systems, he goes into Ellingson with a bunch of flowers, and he goes through the main floor and he looks at people typing in their passwords. Now, there's a little bit of extra information here. What you see them typing is Kermit, which is a reference to a software that was used at the time, correct?
Yes, it's file transfer and receiving.
Exactly. But they couldn't use Kermit, so they did it backwards because they were afraid that if Kermit was referenced, people would have thought about the Muppets, and then they would have a little bit of a copyright issue. But whatever.
This version worked.
Yeah.
This version worked.
This version worked. And he kind of bumps into Plague, and they both kind of look at each other, but they like, nah, and they move on because they haven't really met. And you also see serial killer kind of taps the phone as well, which is a physical thing that they've added on just to make sure they can monitor all the phones. And after that, because they tap the phones, they know about the Da Vinci and the whole scheme to basically blame it on hackers. So Nikon and Serial kind of hear this, and then they get it to they kind of tell Kate and Zero Cool, and the whole thing kind of, okay, we can do it as fast, but they're still going to blame us for the Da Vinci. Even though we will have the worm, we're kind of stuck because we can't really prevent the Da Vinci. So they call in the heavy cavalry. They actually go and get Razor and Blade. And at first, Razor and Blade's like, nah, get the fuck out of here. We don't want to do anything. But they do suggest that, they'll have an army. Now, this is a well-known thing. If a hacker has some sort of a problem locally, if he's connected to a network of other hackers from around the world, they can coordinate an attack. Today, it's called a DDoS attack, or a what's the anagram for that?
It's one of the attacks, yeah. They're basically shutting everything down.
Yeah, it's basically there was a documentary I watched about it's not really cyber hacking. It's more like staging an electronic sit down or protest, which is coordinating around the world with hackers and other people that are not necessarily hackers. And all they're doing is literally going to some sort of a government website and literally refreshing the page.
Yeah.
And by refreshing the page, you're literally asking it to send information. And when you do that enough times from enough places, that's basically gets the website stuck and it crashes the website. And then you have to take it offline and then all that stuff.
Yeah,
I've watched a whole document.
The same works with what they do with companies, as what we see later is you can shut entire companies down, not just a website, but just crash the entire internet flow for that company.
Yeah. And it's basically like a DDoS attack, but even more severe because you do implant some sort of a virus, but the viruses that they use are just information gobbles or memory gobbles just just to make the system heavier and more complicated, and takes more power to get information through from side to side.
Yep.
That's the whole point. It's not there to literally crash the system, more like putting a wheel in the spokes of it,
Basically creating a bottleneck.
Yes, exactly, a bottleneck. So the guys launch the attack on their own without the help. You get a little bit of you get the cookie. By the way, the Cookie Monster is a real virus.
Oh yeah.
They used a real virus. The rabbit is also a real virus as well. And they used another one.
The last one that they dropped is also a real one. The one that crashes the system.
Yeah, everything is real. So like our main guys are doing the hack. So Kate, Nikon, and it was supposed to be Serial, but he got the jitters. He was too nervous, so they told Joey to cover for him. But he's using Serial's laptop to do it.
Serial, in the meantime, they sent to fix the phones so that they couldn't be traced as easily.
Yes, and Nikon even says, go and get some like food in you, because you need food to like calm down. And that's why he later on he has like a pizza and a Coke, which is staple for everybody. Everybody is a Coke and a pizza while you do your PCing or gaming or whatever. But yeah, the Cookie Monster is a real one. All the viruses that they use are either Trojans or some sort of versions of a real virus that is doing what is supposed to be doing really, which is good, because that's why the hacker community kind of said, oh, this is like true to form. This is exactly what we do.
The thing that the virus does of Plague, the embezzlement, that's called salami slicing, and the same thing was used by Richard Pryor in Superman 3.
Yeah. It's literally the same way it was used in Superman 3, which was a ridiculously stupid movie, but the principle behind it is correct. Is literally the worm itself is eating away tiny, minute cents and transferring it to an offshore bank account.
Yeah, that's things that still happen.
Yeah, you can still do it today, although it is very, very hard.
Yes.
So the whole point of the hack, the whole point of the end sequence of the movie is literally make sure the people who are the security, Plague, and the other tech guys are there. They're dealing with the viruses and the sort of congestion in the system, while Crash Override hacks into the system, gets to the garbage files and copies them. And after they get a copy of them, they get arrested. Although they did manage to fool Richard Gill and like the Secret Service.
This is basically using a proxy back then.
Yeah. This is basically using a proxy from this, by the way, this is the real Grand Central Station. After it got refurbished in, I think it was late 80s or something. So the place is there. I'm not sure the phones are there though.
The phones have gone long gone.
I'm pretty sure the phones are not there, but it is Grand Central Station, which is a really cool kind of setting for it. They filmed a very small portion of it. The shot that I've shown is a mock-up, is a soundstage. It's not the real place.
It's because the real place couldn't be closed, so they had a tiny window.
Yeah, I think some of it was shot in the UK, in London, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the Cyridelia was in a abandoned building near London, and somehow that building was designated as a historical building. So you see how trashed the place looks with all the graffiti.
Yeah.
they had to put everything back in its original state afterwards.
Yeah.
Which is a pain in the ass, I'm guessing.
The thing is, the thing about this sequence, the first when Razor and Blade actually call in and say, "Oh, we're sorry we're late" or something.
Fashionably late.
Fashionably late. After that, it cuts to a guy that sits around and has his computer out in the open. Do you know who the guy is?
Can't remember the name, but I believe he was an actual hacker.
No, he was a part of the duo from. Do you remember the band Eurythmics?
No.
It's a band called Eurythmics. It's most famously the singer is Annie Lennox. Have you heard that name before?
Nope. Before my time.
Anyway, he is one half of the band is literally two people, Annie Lennox and that guy. And he stumbled into that part basically. And the other people are actors. They're not really hackers. He's
I thought one
not,
of them was.
He's not really a hacker. None of them are. None of them are. Along with that cyber attack, you get to see Plague kind of being super annoyed as well. It's like, oh, you motherfuckers, I've got you. I've got this. But they managed to crash the Gibson, but also delete the Da Vinci and like not capsizing the boats that it was supposed to capsize.
It was literally a full system crash. Everything was gone.
Yeah. But still, the guys do get arrested. And as they arrest Crash Override, I don't know how he did it, but he managed to like throw the disc away to the trash. And when he gets out, he sees Serial right there. It's like right there. He's like, they're trashing. And I don't know how Serial got that it's in the trash, but it is. And when they get him into the car, he's like, hack the planet. And Serial yells, hack the planet. How come he didn't get arrested immediately after that?
Because he wasn't caught red-handed.
Yeah, movie magic, I guess. And of course, Serial does get to find the disc while the other guys go to the not police station, but the Secret Service station and get arrested. And before we end the last part of the movie, let's do our second segment of the night. Your favorite, my favorite, it is, of course, Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
What is Screen Fighter for the uninitiated is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall to our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with your significant other. We've got two movies. Which one will we pop in first pair of the night? Sir, Fargo, which we discussed, or Mad Max, the original?
I would say the original Mad Max.
Chat participation is most welcome. We are going to differ on this one, and I'll tell you why. Mad Max, really good movie. I wouldn't say ahead of his time, but a really good movie. Introduced everyone in the United States to Mel Gibson. Doesn't hold up. But if we take Fargo and watch it today, it still holds up. For me, it's Fargo. We have chat with us, so chat is going to be the deciding balance. And of course, chat picks Mad Max.
Chat has taste.
The Jungle Book or Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This is the live version of Jungle Book, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Which one will you pick?
I would pick Ferris Bueller, even though I didn't like that either, but it's better than Jungle Book.
All right. I'll let chat pick up. I hate all the new Disney stuff that they've redone. I didn't see Mulan. I didn't see The Lion King. I've heard good things about it. The Jungle Book, I did see. It is awful. It is terrible. Terrible. I'm an 80s guy, and the one of the only movies I have a lot of issues with people that are around my age is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I don't like it. I don't like it as much as other people, but I would definitely pick it above the Jungle Book
Oh, yeah.
any day. The Notebook or Alien Resurrection.
I can't say I remember The Notebook, but I do like Alien Resurrection anyway.
All right. I'll let check again because I have a sneaking suspicion. I did watch The Notebook. It's an okay movie. Alien Resurrection is so bad. It is a disservice to the entire Alien franchise. But in a vacuum, I would definitely pick Alien over The Notebook as just a throwaway popcorn movie. Just put it on and just enjoy it. And chat agrees with both of us. Resident Evil or Sunshine?
Guess.
I'm guessing you'll go with Resident Evil.
Obviously.
I didn't like Sunshine. It's easy. Resident Evil. I hate both. Bridesmaids or Phone Booth? Again, two awful fucking movies.
Yeah, but one's a little bit less awful. I pick Phone Booth.
Really?
Yeah.
Nothing happens in Phone Booth.
No, but it's still better than Bridesmaids.
I mean, I didn't like Bridesmaids. It literally tried to be The Hangover, but with women. The good thing about the Bridesmaids that it wanted to be The Hangover, but it did it different. It wanted to be The Hangover, but it didn't try to be The Hangover. Still stuff happened. I would go with the Bridesmaids just for the fact that Melissa McCarthy had a scene where she shit in a sink, right? In Phone Booth, nothing happens. But of course, the chat went with Phone Booth. Phone Booth. God damn it, DK. Fuck off. Right. Short Circuit.
This is the one that you were talking about.
Yeah, I was mentioning with Steve Guttenberg and the Plague. That's it. Short Circuit or Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I'll go first. I'm going to go Short Circuit all day, every day. Fucking phenomenally great movie that time has forgotten.
It is a absolutely great movie. But I do like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And the spin-off, Men in Tights.
I like Men in Tights. If Men in Tights were in there, I would pick Men in Tights because A, Mel Brooks, B, it has fucking Dave Chappelle in it. C, it has the guy from Princess Bride in it, Carrie Elves. He was great.
Yeah. Well, Chet got it.
Yes, it is, of course, Short Circuit. Last pairing for tonight. Big Daddy or Ants?
Oh, I can go first because I think you know my answer.
No, I don't.
I hate Adam Sandler.
You hate Adam Sandler?
I hate the way he overacts in a lot of his movies, just like Jim Carrey.
I hate both of these movies.
Oh, I didn't say I like Ants. It's just I don't like Big Daddy.
hate both of these movies. DK is no help, so I'm going to be the deciding vote in this because I know better than you.
No,
I'm
you
going
don't.
to go Big Daddy. Wait. I don't like Big Daddy at all. I think it's a terrible Adam Sandler comedy. It's a terrible Adam Sandler comedy. But Woody Allen as an ant? No.
It's a good movie.
Sylvester Stallone as an ant? No, absolutely not. No way. No. I'm just not gonna even pick this one. Holy shit. Yeah. My pick is Big Daddy and no. Do not pick either of those movies. Go out. Do something else.
Told
Do
you I was good
something
at this
else.
section.
Yeah. Right. So the secret gets revealed because serial killer, and of course, with the help of by the way, after the people got arrested, we got a little bit of a scene where Plague and God basically get together and celebrate, even though the tankers didn't capsize, but they did get the money.
Mhm.
And I do love this. The scene with Dade's mom where she says, I'm gonna kill myself to protect my child.
I'm ready to go
Right?
to certain
Yeah.
death.
Yeah, certain death to protect my child. And Gil is like, what? He's like, he can't believe it. But he's so smug when serial killer does show up with the numbers and he gets super annoyed, and you can see it here. It's really hard with like a single frame, but he's like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
You get super annoyed, and he's like, oh my god, I hate this. He realizes how much Plague played him to the fullest extent, and throughout the movie we kind of skipped over it. We do get to see him talking to Plague, sharing things with him, having access to the Secret Service,
And
right?
all its resources.
And the resources and everything. And he realized, oh, I've let in, like, I let the cat guard the milk, right?
Cat guard the hen house.
Yeah, the hen house. Sorry.
It's late. It's late.
It's not late. It's me not being American or British or whatever.
Me neither.
That's how we say it. It's like let the cat guard the cream or something. So there we do get a scene where God kind of realizes what's happening, right? Fox in the hen house.
Yeah,
That's
we were
it.
both
That's,
wrong.
yeah, Fox in the hen house. Thank you, DK. You get to see it like this little scene where God watches the TV and it's like, oh my god, and it's like Eugene, which is the name of Plague, Eugene, and he disappeared.
He's gone.
Cut to him. Hey, watch it, Corona. You do get to see Plague with like this, with this new identity, and he gives a name, right? And the name is the name of the guy who made the actual first computer.
Charles Babbage.
Charles Babbage. She calls him Mr. Babbage. He was the guy who did the first PC, not real computer, but real PC, if I'm not mistaken.
It's inventor of the very early form of a computer.
Yeah.
The thing that paved the way for everything else. And
we get to see Gil kind of arrest him on the spot. By the way, a 14-hour trip to Japan, which they don't show it, the plane coming back, but I'm guessing that they revert to plane back.
I should hope so, because
otherwise it's dumb. And of course, Crash Override and Acid Burn take their date. And let me have the buildings. Of course, like I said, they go for a swim at a pool on the top of some building, and they get to see this. By the way, both of them with dresses. And Dade kind of confesses to, like, Kate says, I can't believe they decided you won. And he says, well, not actually, but the guys thought I would never get a date if I didn't win. So he won. He had to wear a dress. She wore a dress. By the way, really weird dresses, but okay. And you get to see him doing a righteous hack on the buildings across from the pool, which is awesome. Crash and burn. And Crash and burn kind of, when they're at the party, it's serial killer that said, "Oh, crash and burn." And
Yes.
he kind of laughs about it, but that's where crash and burn comes from. And that's it. They kiss and the movie's over. And no, the podcast is not over yet.
Still, it's a classic movie, not
Yeah,
even though it really did bad.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where I think it kind of got momentum, like a cult favorite momentum, through VCRs or DVDs, or that's where it kind of got more popular because as the internet culture kind of developed, I think it got more momentum after the 2000s or during like the 99 boom of startup companies and internet companies, the .com era or the .com bubble as we know it today. It kind of got more momentum then, where everybody's gotten more into the internet, because in 1995, only like the real gamers were on bulletin boards, and which was the old forums, right? Bulletin boards. It used to have a name. BBC. Bulletin board community, I think. Comment section down below, by the way, if you're still watching this podcast by now and you mentioned me saying BBC. I was on a BBC. I was on 3 or 4 different BBCs. You had to have an access code, not really a password, an actual access code, which is today you would say an IP address. And some of them were like real elaborate. So some of them were like used early form of basic language to have a different like an early version of an animated thing that you see on the screen, and it kind of had to be rendered in one line at a time so you can see it. And it was like a forum, but it also was an early form of file sharing as well. So you could get pirated version of, used to be either softwares or games that were hacked back then, which you didn't actually had to use the disk to play them or the floppy disk to play them. Was really early version. So 95, 96, 97, that's where I was in that type of world. Hi, Pip.
Yeah, it's a good thing the cameras switch.
Okay. No, not to worry. So, after that, it kind of took off, and now a lot of people know this movie from either they watched it on cable, they watched it on a DVD or something, and that's where it kind of got sort of a cult following. Do you remember the first time you watched this movie?
Ooh, that was early, I think. 97-ish?
Yeah, I saw it around 97 as well. Kind of my senior year in high school. A friend of mine got I think it was a cassette. Oh, I remember this. My friend had a VHS cassette of it. He wanted me to go and watch it, and I literally saw it on cable. It came on like this. I think it was an afternoon or something, either Friday or Saturday or something like that. It came on. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Saw it, then went to my friend, and he put it on. I was like, oh, I've seen this like 2-3 days ago. This is a cool movie, and he was really into computers at the time. He knew how to write code and everything. So he was really into this movie. So that was my first experience. I never saw it at the cinema. I don't think it even was played
Um,
in like a theater here.
If you look at the box office things, they show it from the US and Canada and then the rest of the world, and the numbers are both the same. So I'm guessing it didn't go worldwide.
Maybe it didn't go worldwide. Yeah, most probably. Hey, could be. All right. Before we end the show, we have a little bit of a segment called the short version, which is we take the movie, we condense it into the smallest possible minute, around a couple of minutes, to give you just a taste of the movie. So we will watch the short version of Hackers.
Okay.
Let me set. Of course, it didn't set up correctly. The short version of Hackers.
Here we go. The short version.
Unbelievable.
There's time only for Peter.
A hacker.
Hey, hold the door.
Stays black for me.
The Phantom Freak?
Oh, really? Let me do it again.
LTA's the target door is the screen.
Thank you.
Hi, Pip again.
Got a gift.
Oh, gift.
Okay, here we go. The short version.
Here we go. You can see it now, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
There's time only for Peter.
A hacker.
Here's the pain of Pet.
Hey, hold the door.
The Phantom Freak? The King of 9X?
I don't have an identity until I have a handle.
That's a nice score for a girl.
Think you can do better?
Well, it looks like I'm on top.
Just made an enemy for life.
What the hell is going on?
Fool on the roof must have a leak.
Whoa, this isn't woodshop class?
Right, what are the three most common used passwords? Love, secret, and sex.
Yeah, but don't forget God.
You want to be elite? You got to do a righteous hack.
I think we got a hacker.
Never fear. I is here.
Lord Nikon, this is
Crash override.
Welcome to our show.
Hack the planet.
Hack the planet.
Is that?
That is the virus. Leonardo da Vinci.
We exist without nationality, skin color, or religious bias. I am a hacker, and this is my manifesto.
How did you know that?
I got photographic memory.
Your acid burn.
I know where you can stick it. I know where you can stick it.
I win. You wear a dress on our date.
And if I win, so do you.
Deal.
You're under arrest under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986.
La computadora de mierda!
You better figure out what's on that disc, because we're being framed. It's in that place where I put that thing that time.
Why did he come to you?
I got a record. I was zero cool.
I thought you was black, man.
Yo, man, this is zero cool.
Never send a boy to do a woman's job. With me, we can do it in 7.
I hope we do it in 6.
I help. We could do it in 5 minutes.
Infecting ballast programs of Ellingson tankers. They blame hackers.
I get on the internet, send out a major distress signal.
Hackers of the world unite.
Are we fashionably late?
Hack the planet! Hack the planet! What's this? Is this the unnamed account in the Bahamas where the money was to be stashed?
I can't believe they decided you won.
Guys felt it was the only way I'd get a date. Beat that.
One thing before we go. One more last thing before we go. The amazing soundtrack of this movie is fucking awesome. I don't remember the names of the entire groups. Most of the groups that are on this soundtrack that did stuff are like, they're gone, except for one, which is the Prodigy. They had a couple of tracks in there. One is Voodoo People, and there's another one that I don't remember the name of, but it's fucking amazing. You can go online now to YouTube and you write in Hackers soundtrack, put it on. It's about 48 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. It is absolutely great fucking soundtrack. Very much mid-90s hacker culture, which is a lot of electronic music, but not only. A lot of
rock,
tech techno, mixed rock, house music, a lot of like amalgamations of old school and new school, like jammed in together. All these tracks are fucking amazing. Check it. And of course, don't mess with the best, or die like the rest. That's it. That'll be the end. Next week, I forgot what is next week. Next week is Donner. Next week is we start. We had to like literally put July on hold because we kind of lost Oh My Feelings this week. But next week, July is going to be our homage to Richard Donner, a great director that lost his life last year in July. And we're going to do a lot of Richard Donner movies. Next week, I think it's Lethal Weapon. Let me converse with the gods of the internet and
good movie
my own document. Right. Podcast list. Here we go. Next week, it is going to be Lethal Weapon. So we're going to visit Murtaugh and Riggs, and we're too old for that shit. And we will currently have a guest. So hopefully it'll be a better show than this one, because never mind. Go watch Lethal Weapon. We're going to start Richard Donner month. We're going to have a lot of really well-known movies. Some of them you haven't watched in a long, long time. And some of it you might have watched yesterday. Who knows? But yeah, go watch Lethal Weapon. Like this video. If you've reached this far with our bullshit, like this video. Share this around with friends. Please share this around with friends, especially friends who like movies and like to talk about movies. Please divert them here. And of course, if you want to subscribe to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you want to interact with me or with the show, you can @ me on Twitter @ Mephisto. You can @ me on Instagram @ Mephisto79. You can email the show at the Reel McCoy podcast @gmail.com. You can go and send a follow on Twitch for Saf. It is twitch.tv/Saphira. And of course, you can always meet us next week, and we will see you there if you want it or not.
Have a great night, everyone.
Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. And to all our US-based people, have a great 4th of July and Freedom Day to all.